Yes, my name is William Abraham. I'm originally from Black River, Manitoba. My Indian name is Kiwetinos, and my clan is Elk, Atik. And I was born there in 1948, right in a res. No, I wasn't born in a hospital. I was born right in a reserve in Black River back in 1948. And so far, and what I'm gathering from this conference is good. I like attending these conferences because there's lots of people sharing their stories also, and you learn from that because we went through a lot of hard times in the residential school. I went to Mackay School in Dauphin and also the one in Brandon Residential School. And I'll tell you that, when I was in Brandon, I know where there's some graves where back in 58, 59, I was there.
Which school?
Brandon, Manitoba. Because they used to let us out in end of the school year. They let us run around, and because they knew that we weren't going to run away. So we played in the back of the school, and then I came upon some graves there. There was little crosses, but I didn't think nothing of it at that time, because I thought that was a regular grave site for the town or town of Brandon.
But that was
I think that was just the schools. It was in the school backyard. So I have an idea where they are. And there was about 10 or 11 of them. And I never thought nothing about it at the time until recently when they started uncovering some. So I thought about that. What were they doing there in the backyard? I thought there must have been kids. And I just think about it all the time now. Yes, it's hard to, because when I went there was lots of bullying done by older kids to us, but I fought back. So, they kind of didn't bother us after I protect my younger brothers and some other kids from up north that were from Garden Hill, I believe. That's where I met Elijah Harper, because he was there too. And we got along with them. There was some other kids I remember that were, and it was a very hard place to, you couldn't even smile, laugh. That's how bad it was. If you talk to somebody in your language, you got a slap in the head or your ears. When I was telling the story about the claim for a residential school, they asked me if I had scars. I told them I didn't have scars to show, but inside of me there's scars that nobody will see. Just me, because I went through a lot, and I was an alcoholic because of that. I turned to alcohol in my younger days, and I didn't care about anything or anybody. We fought lots when we were young. I mean, not to other Anishinaabe people, but whenever we argued with some white boys in a bar, we'd jump on them right away and fight. And that was the life I led back in 60s, 70s. As I grew up, I started work when I was 16 years old. I lied my way in to a mine, and then they accepted me, so I started working underground in the mines. And I've been working underground off and on all my years. Sometimes I'd go on a track, extra gang, whatever they call it now, and that's where I worked. And there was no welfare back then. You had to work, you had to survive. And I worked and I made good wages, mind you, but I drank it all. That was the story of my life. I drank, just made money and drank, go back to work, drank, same thing every 2 weeks. And that's how I lived until I met my wife, and then, but both of us were alcoholics. It was no different.
How old were you when they took you?
Pardon me?
How old were you when you left school? When you left home?
Oh, I was around 13, 14 years old. But like I said, my mom was, at the time, I guess that's when, I don't know how she survived, but anyway, you know, when they threatened her, that's why we had to go to school, residential school, to get.
What did they threaten?
They were going to cut off her ration. They called it ration back then, but not welfare. They gave her so much a month, and if she didn't allow us to go to residential school, they were going to cut her off everything, and then she'd have nothing. So I guess with heavy heart, she had to let us go. And we were all, there was only 3 of us back then. My brothers, my younger brothers, and that was it, and we left. Yes, we left on a bus to Brandon. And whenever I go by there today, I feel like breaking down. Even when I talk about it, it was a miserable place to be. You couldn't talk to anybody in your language, your siblings or anybody. There was never a smile or a laugh in that school. Nobody. The only time we laughed is when we were outside playing. And if you ever got caught, you'd get a licking, or, you know, then they used sticks, not a strap. They used sticks to beat you up. That's how I lived and went to school in Brandon. And I was glad when we went to Dauphin about 2 or 3 years after. It was different there. At least they didn't beat you up. They allowed you to, you had more freedom. You could go to town in a weekend if you want, go to a show. So that was way different from going to school in Brandon. You never went any place in Brandon. You were locked up just like jail. The only time you were out was Sundays to go and play outside, and that was, you know, we were treated like prisoners in school. That was a hard life for us. Yeah, it's been a hard life for me, but I survived. And just recently, or maybe 30 years ago, I quit drinking. And I changed. I used to, when I used to drink all the time, I didn't have nothing. Now I bought a house and I got a car. I got a license, and I bought that house for my grandchild, actually, so she can have a place whenever I leave this earth, I guess I might as well say. So she will have a home. And that's how I live today. And I'm thankful for that I quit. And I have a beautiful grandchild. And I talked to her last night. She said she misses me and I miss her too. Yes, I'm happy.
After the conference is over, what do you take home from the conference? What is the what does the conference give you after you leave here?
Well, I'll tell you what, my friend. It's a very uplifting for me, because what the people went through, just like the chief from the Broken Head was talking about this morning. He had a rough life also, and today he's a chief in Broken Head, and that's where you learn from. You get better at things as you grow older. You forgive what happened. I guess that's part of reconciliation. To me, the word is it's about doing what's right in your heart. You forgive the people who did this to you, and you move on and try to make a better life for you, for yourself. And when I go home, that's what I always hug my grandchildren. I got two of them. So it changes everything in perspective for me. That's what I learned from this conference. There's lots of people that are, their stories are maybe worse than I am. And I'll tell you, when they share their stories, it's, when you think about it and all the stories that us Anishinaabe people went through back in the 50s, 60s, it wasn't a loving environment, and you feel bitter all the time. I guess that's why most of my generation back then were alcoholics. They turned to alcohol to hide their shame, they couldn't function, they couldn't work, they didn't feel like going out to work because of the way the system treated you. But in one way, I'm glad I survived that. I didn't care if I lost my job one way or another, but I know I could find another job. Back then it was easy. But like I said, it was a hard life. You either worked or you starved. But I worked and I got drunk every payday, fought every weekend, I guess. I got stabbed here. I don't know, I got stabbed 8 times and I survived. And like I said, I'm thankful for the life I'm leading today. The sobriety that I have. And I am always thankful for the Creator who looked after me, I guess, to survive this far. And I'm 73 years old, and I'm proud to say that I made it this far. There's a lot of my friends that didn't make it past 50s, some of them. They died young. And it's all through the residential school. And I'm thankful for that, my friend. Thank you.
Is there anything else that you wanted to say? Anything?
Well, I just wish that that there was more they could do for us survivors. I'd like to see good gathering like this for other people too, because many of the survivors are way up north and some of them can't make it, and I know for a fact they would like to share their stories too, and they had rough lives. Some of them, I know that the ones I went to school with passed away with alcohol in their system, because they didn't. They figured it was the only way to live. The way we were treated, and it's hard. And I pray for these other survivors that they will not go to alcohol again and be more strong. That's all I say.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Yeah,
and thank you.
That was really good. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, my friend.
I'll get this microphone off you now. All right. That was good. Thank you so much. I just want to ask you one more question. Or not ask, but just talk. My mom and dad were Gordon and Annabelle Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
They went to Bertle.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to Bertle?
No, I never went to Bertle.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My mom was saying that she knew that there was graves behind the church there as well. Same thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what she remembers.
Yeah.
No, that's all I just wanted to say. I remember when we were growing up, she told us that there was babies and graves of kids that died in school,
Yeah.
and that they just buried them and nobody knows.
Exactly.
She says. Yeah, my mom told me that.
Yeah.
So for me, it was common knowledge.
Uh-huh.
And then when it broke out in the media, we already knew that.
Yeah. Yes,
There's
we
no
knew
surprise.
that already. We knew what happened already, but nobody ever believed. Because more, the RCMP was part of that system. They knew, but they never did nothing. Because we told them. We ran away one time, and then the RCMP picked us up at McGregor. I remember that. McGregor, Manitoba. They took us back to a residential school, and then we told them what was going on, but they didn't believe us because that was part of the system there. And yet they never apologized to the natives because of that. They should come out and apologize just like everybody else. The RCMP, yes, they knew, but they were working for the government. That's why I always say there will be no reconciliation till everybody admits the wrong that was done to us. And I always say that when we go to meetings. I have other meetings I tend to like. I sit in a board with travelers from Jackhead, and we always talk about this. And we talk to the people that come in, tell them that the way they treat us, it's, that's, it's not fair. Like, they take our land and they say that we are bums or whatever, and we have to beg for the money, like for the reserve chief and council. We don't have to beg for money. This is our land. We got lots of money, but they don't give the money to us. We got a trust fund that's over $1 billion worth, I bet you. But where does that money go? We don't know. I know in 1958 the government of the day borrowed 21 or 22 million from the trust fund, from the Indian trust fund. But nobody heard about it after that. That was in 1958, 57, around there. And never heard anything about that.
Good to know.
Yes, we all have these things that we know way back then.
Those are
Do you know?
unresolved issues, eh?
Yeah.
What other unresolved issues? That, RCMP,
Yeah.
our land, the treaties, just been wronged, eh?
Yes. And that's one of the things that we have to tell the government to also, that the government has, the RCMP has to apologize for the way they treated us back then too. Because, they took the children right out of the reserve. They didn't tell nobody. There was a book written by one of the pilots in, I don't know which airlines, but in the pilots, they used to go up north and the kids would run to the dock to see what was going on. Then they'd take the kids and put them in a plane without the parents' knowledge and brought them down. And that's...
Kidnapping.
Yes, and nobody got charged. And that was a pilot who wrote that book, because he knew what was going on, but he couldn't do nothing, because if he ever did, I guess he would lose his job. That was his bread and butter back then. Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you.
You don't mind if we
No.
post
No.
it? Okay. Okay, thank you. All right.